Morning, good morning. I know I started live a little early. I'm gonna give some people some time to come in. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How are you guys this morning? Let me know if you guys hear anything out there. Let me know if you guys hear anything. Good morning, Tracy. How are you? How are you doing this morning? So, about last night. So, the objective was to go live, do a little spiel about the interview with Latrice from Belle Collective. I'm doing it from my phone. I'm thinking I have everything set up. And then I look at the live and I noticed Tracy had commented, but I know she had stopped commenting. So I decided to finally click on the video and hear it for myself, no audio. I was sitting up in there and talking in that phone for at least a good 50, for about 15 minutes, which is what I want. I didn't want to last too long because I was just trying to do something real quick before I went to bed. Something is better than nothing when it comes to this internet game. The objective is always and just usually be consistent. It's not about how long each consistency is, it's just about being consistent. So I just wanted to do something real quick before going to bed and right after it. So I could have some content some days after my last live I did, and that fell flat. So here we are this morning with thoughts. I did decide this time that I would like write down some things so I could stay track because I noticed every time I thought of something, I was just going in circles. And I didn't want that to happen. I want to stay on track with this one. But yeah, guys, I am drinking my tea while I talk to you guys. Let me grab my notebook. But about last night, so I will say overall, Scotty T and Josiah did an amazing job with what they had to work with. They asked the questions people wanted to ask. Um, they tried their best to get something out of Latrice. but you can only do so much when someone is being so evasive and very vague. Um, they really tried, and it was really like getting blood from a turnip last night. Latrice herself has been a character I liked from the beginning. I will say what I really liked about her was her ambition, her being a young woman, um, in Jackson, Mississippi, seeing a need, hustling from the trunk of her car to then getting hair and vending machines and now having her own salon. And now here we are. She has her own bar and restaurant. And you're talking about someone who has that much success at such a young age in Jackson, Mississippi, a place where a lot of people don't even think you could find that there. So that coupled with she's a pretty woman, can't take that from her. So I genuinely liked her personality. And then we also start with season one, the very first episode. Marie comes in. Um, she comes in with her stunts and shows with the weave. And that was just a pure turn off from the beginning. So here we are. I took to Latrice. I liked her. So fast forward, we are here in season five. And I will say one thing they did not ask about that I was curious of was DM Gate. We all know if someone is bringing us information to us about someone else, especially someone that they're so close with, and damning information, I have questions as to how great their involvement with that whole situation was. I wanted to know how involved was Latrice in trying to even set it up herself? Was she talking her out of it, or was she helping to conspire? And also, I want to know, was Latrice conspiring against others with Latrice with Letitia? Like, help me out in that situation. I have questions still, but that made me side eye her from then all the way up to now. We now get down to the questions which mostly centered around the current events, which is everyone wants to talk about the fight. Really, I'm over that fight. So questions centered around very easy questions since Letitia and Latrice have been on live a few times saying, Carlos, you need to show the whole thing. They came to my event with an agenda. They came with goons. Um, their whole motive was to ruin my event. And they started it. It was them, and no one else. So then we get down to the interview asking simple questions. What was not shown on television as it relates to that whole conniption? What wasn't shown? Were the events shown as they were? What was missing? We could not get anything out of her in regards to that. You're telling us that it was this whole commotion where Akeisha is bringing her whole family and goons down, and they ghettoed it up. But you don't then provide examples of, okay, this scene was taken out of context. The reason why Glenn came in and didn't shake Willie's hand was because not too long ago, prior to that, this, that, and the, this, that, and the third occurred. And so Willie even trying to do that was just fake on his behalf because he knows Glenn wasn't dealing with none of that. No explanation for none of it. So I am to believe, even though we only got what 15, 20 minutes of that footage, I am to believe Good morning, KK. How are you? I'm to believe what Aikisha said about that whole of it is the truth. She has not countered anything Aikisha has said. um, we get into the weeds of the whole encounter as it revolves Aikisha and her family. So she tried to debunk that it wasn't a public event, that it was invite only. But we'll get down to the text messages. I won't show the text messages. We've all seen those text messages. It's nothing we haven't already heard or seen. Even in those text messages, she admitted that this event was not an invite only event. Um, Anyone could have came to it. She tried to play a little recording that was blasted on the radio because it was not an invite only event. It was open to the public. And when you understand reality TV, we for those of us who have been around and got an understanding of how production works, they typically when they shoot these all cast events, especially these parties will usually last all day long. There'll be those all cast parties will be like 10, 15-hour filmings, and we only end up with like 20 minutes, 20, 15 minutes of footage. So I already knew when production put the Willie and Aikisha 3 hours late. I already knew they were not 3 hours late. They arrived at their call time. They always stagger people in on purpose, sometimes to create that kind of drama. And listen, Tracy, what's even more damning about the whole situation when it came to the event, the bar opening, again, it's a cast event. Aikisha and Willie don't show up, then Aikisha and Willie pretty much forfeit a check, forfeit they don't work that day. It was a work group. That was a work event and she knows it. So this whole invite only thing and it was cameras, like come on. Come on. Like stop it. And that's the other thing, like everything was is in close proximity. So again, I believe Aikisha's accounts of the whole event are true when Latrice is on live saying, "Oh, I don't have a reason to lie." Well, honestly, I don't think Aikisha has a reason to lie either. Her tales of events make sense. It makes sense that the majority of Latrice's family was there. It makes sense that the majority of Letitia's family was there, and then Aikisha and Willie just only had their crew there. They did not intend to bring a whole bunch of people because it was work like normal. Um, then we move over to this phone, and I'm gonna get to my theory of this phone. So you're talking the whole timeline just says to me that there's a bigger thing being concocted here. And again, poorly planned. When asked about the phone's timeline of being missing, what did the nephew do? She's saying the nephew, now we're hearing like the nephew did try to go get the phone, knocked on the door, no one answered, something like that. I don't know. I'm sorry, I find that extremely hard to believe. I don't believe anyone went to anyone's house and tried to retrieve a phone. I do not. You all just had a big altercation. No one is going on anyone's property trying to retrieve property. Like that's not happening. Number two, It's very plausible to believe, and honestly, very easy to comprehend the niece throwing the phone out the window once learning that her aunt had her phone. Again, we just got into a big altercation. I'm with a phone from someone I don't know. Yeah, I'm throwing it out the window. I don't know whose phone it is. I just know it don't belong to any of us. Makes sense. Um, Latrice contacting Akeisha so late and the manner in which she did it, very aggressively. Um, some people could say that Akeisha should have reached out to her. Some people could say Akeisha should have done better, done her due diligence with trying to get the phone. Um, Again, we had just got into an altercation. Personally, I do not care about any property of yours at that moment. So I'm not going out of my way to look for no phone, especially when you talk about us just getting into an altercation. I'm not making a big fuss about a phone. I'm sorry. Especially when we have so many clouds, it's easy to go and transfer whatever data you had from that phone onto this new phone. You can go and get a new phone, which I assume that the nephew did, which is why he really wasn't tripping over that phone before his untimely passing. Then we start asking very legitimate questions. So you say you have this pinged area, which you know is not Akeisha's house. It's just somewhere in the vicinity. And Akeisha's saying, hey, that phone is somewhere even near Taste. Because from my understanding, like the proximity where everything and everyone is not that far from one another. So it's truly a matter of really going out there and looking for yourself. So you have this alleged ping location. Why didn't you go and call the police? Why didn't you call the police and have them go look for it? Especially since you're now claiming that this phone is like supposed to be a part of an investigation, possibly. Um, Her excuse, because really it was excuses. All of her explanations sounded like typical nigga excuses. Her excuse was to the effect of it's Jackson police and they aren't the best and they aren't the greatest and woo 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 and da 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 da. Again, for me, your nephew did not care about that phone, and right now you don't care about this phone. This whole thing just sounds like some made up shit. I also find it very hard to believe that 7 months after you're pinging this phone's location, you're still able to ping this phone's location. I don't know what kind of battery this phone has, but with cell phones today, between all the apps running in the background, between use of YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, etc., you're not going to convince me that that phone is still holding its life. You can't do that. Like no elements even coming to the into play. Like there hasn't been any rain that's happened. There's a whole drought in Mississippi or something. Even then, so the phone didn't overheat for being in the sun all that time. Like this, it makes no sense. And again, why don't you go look for the phone yourself? Because if I'm Akeisha, I'm not coming from all the way from New Jersey to go to Mississippi to look for a phone. That's stupid. If you want the phone that bad, you have his last known location, because that's what it's picking up at this time. It's not picking up his current location, it's picking up his last known location. You have all the information, go to the police with it and get the phone yourself. But again, your nephew wasn't trying to get the phone because he already got a new phone, which also brings to you needing all this access to access the cloud because again, you weren't on your nephew's plan. He didn't have you as any kind of importance to his phone. So you trying to make this a whole thing with needing a phone for this, that, and the third, all bullshit. Every last bit of it is bullshit. And y'all, I'm taking breaks because I'm drinking my tea while I'm talking to you guys. So from what hindsight being 2020, me thinking, me thinking of that sit down Latrice and Letitia had, where they tried to do this whole let's vote off Akeisha off the island type thing. I think between that fight and between that last um that last diatribe of text messages Latrice sent, I believe that happened in between that. And personally, I think this whole phone situation was created to go into season 6 with a plot line to go after Akeisha. That's all I can surmise from this. The whole phone situation makes no sense. Again, when asked questions about what did Akeisha say to you, she did the typical dance around nigga shit. Oh, well, she didn't show all of her text messages. She didn't show every. Okay, this is the opportunity, ma'am, for you to show us or tell us what was said. You, for whatever reason, she couldn't articulate what Akeisha's text messages were. And mind you, those text messages have been floating around for a while. And hell, Akeisha's video has been up for a moment. And not once has Latrice been able to produce conflicting evidence to say, no, Akeisha, you were nasty on the phone too. I don't believe Akeisha was pleasant on the phone, but simultaneously, why should she? Because you've come at her in a very nasty manner. And to add insult to injury, we just, our last scene of each other was in a big brawl. There aren't going to be many pleasantries said on a phone. And I can get Akeisha saying, hey, I'm going to call you because who has time to text a whole book? Like Latrice sending that message really for someone who claims she doesn't think much of Akeisha. She thought a whole lot of Akeisha. She thought a whole lot of Willie. She thought a whole lot of her whole family, which says there has been a lot of stuff. I don't know if Letitia's in her ear, but it's very it's very evident that Latrice has a very true disdain for Akeisha, and I honestly cannot pinpoint it. I truly cannot. She says she doesn't trust Letitia. No farther she could throw her. I honestly, I don't believe that. And if she does, there has to be an alliance. There has to be an alliance of some sort. And or maybe she's like, because apparently since this is Letitia's show, and as Carlos Kings like to call her, the farce multiplier. Maybe she's buttering up to the quote unquote producer or whatever to keep her spot. But the whole situation just doesn't make sense considering Even though Akeisha's hands aren't clean, I will say when it comes to the Bells, her hands are one of the cleanest. Akeisha hasn't been up here trying to plot to get people's businesses torn down. And she hasn't been up here plotting trying to take people's marriages down. I truly do not understand what Latrice's whole issue with Akeisha is. And again, she couldn't articulate it, which says to me she doesn't really have an issue. And most likely she's taking on Letitia's Letitia's energy. Because Letitia's the one who got the biggest energy with Akeisha and couldn't wait to pounce on her. The moment, the first FU came out of Akeisha's mouth, Letitia was the first one to pop up. She couldn't wait. So that's my little thing, my little spill. Um, Again, I didn't want to be before you guys long because I'm getting ready to go to work. I do have a little bit more time if you guys want to continue to discuss here in the live. I know I did not get everything in the live, but you guys go over and watch it for yourself. It was a really good interview, and honestly, all I took away from the interview was Akeisha told no lies. And here's another thing about the whole PR. Akeisha has great PR. Akeisha has great PR. Okay, ma'am. Akeisha has great PR. Here is your opportunity to counter everything Akeisha said. She didn't do that at all. Complete and total deflection, complete and total deferring, delaying of answers. Really, we didn't get answers to a lot of questions, we're going to be quite honest, which denotes deception. And some people have even more questions. Personally, I don't. I now see you. And there have been others who's been not so favorable to Latrice and have called out some of her have called out some stuff. I didn't see it like that, but again, hindsight being 2020, I can now I can begin to see what they're talking about. But yeah, you guys, didn't want to come before you guys long and just wanted to give you a little more than something so that I can have some content again today. Some more content for the week and try to squeeze in some stuff here and there. Um, Make sure you all like, comment, subscribe, share the channel out. This is all new to me, so you guys bear with me. I am gonna continue to try to do the phone situation. I would say that this type setup needs an app of some sort because yeah, last night was a little bit difficult for me, especially working on that phone. But I do want to. We're going to continue to grow and evolve this platform. I'm wanting to stream on Twitch. That's why I really want to also start streaming too, not just YouTube, but also on Twitch, getting that whole set up. One thing I think I'm going to do on Twitch are like live watch and reviews. So like we have Ready to Love coming up. That's one of my shows that I really, really, really enjoy. I will say, I didn't finish out Dallas last season. That got crazy for no reason. And it just turned me off. But I hope they've gone back to the drawing board with Philadelphia. Um, I don't have too much hope so that my expectations aren't truly let down. This is a truly wait and see type deal for Philadelphia. And if the show throughout the season, if it's not that great, I am gonna drop it. That's just the long and short of it. Also, I'm thinking about doing Castlevania Nocturne on Netflix. For people who don't know, I actually do enjoy watching anime. So that's a show. The season 2 of that starts Friday, tomorrow. But I won't get an opportunity to truly sit down and watch it until Tuesday or Wednesday. That's my next off day from work. So to be able to sit down and binge that, um, I'm thinking I'm gonna try to do that. So, guys, thank you all for stopping by. Thank you for participating in the live. And you guys have a nice rest of your day.